Steve Cohen and the Mets have finally done it. They just signed Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 million deal to make him the highest paid baseball player in the history of the sport. The bidding war for Soto was amongst the Red Sox, Yankees, and Jays, but ultimately the Mets came out on top. The figure of $765 million was much higher than everyone predicted. People were thinking somewhere in the 600 range, but these teams really valued Soto as a generational hitter, which is just what he is. This past season with the Yankees, Soto had a great year, hitting a career-high 41 home runs, a career-high in runs scored with 128, a career-high of extra base hits in 76, and a career-high of Baseball Reference WAR at 7.9. Even though the Yankees didn't end up winning the World Series, Soto had a great postseason, batting .327 with a 1.102 OPS in 64 plate appearances. He hit 4 homers during the playoffs, including the go-ahead 3-run homer in the 10th inning of the ALCS Game 5 that led the Yankees to their first World Series in 15 years. For his career, Soto has a slash line of .285, .421, and .532, putting him on pace to be an all-time great in the history of the sport. With Soto in the lineup, the Mets should look pretty dangerous. Although they just gave Soto $765 million, so I don't think they'll end up re-signing Pete Alonso and he'll walk in free agency. But here's how the lineup should look. At leadoff, Francisco Lindor, who was runner-up this past season for NL MVP. In the 2 spot, we have Soto at right field. At third base, Mark Vientos, who's now at first. He had a great season last year and a great postseason for the team. In the cleanup spot, Brennan Nimmo at left field. In 5th, Starling Marte, the DH. In the 6th spot, Jeff McNeil, the second baseman, who can move around everywhere pretty much. At 7, the young catcher Francisco Alvarez. At 8th, Brett Beatty at third base. And at 9th, either Tyrone Taylor or Jose Siri, depending on the platoon situation. Another guy who could replace McNeil at second base is Luis Angel Acuna, the brother of Ronald Acuna, who's a second base young prospect in the Mets system. The lineup is no doubt top heavy and there are some questions towards the bottom, but everyone said the same about the Dodgers this past year, and look what they did en route to a World Series win. Soto, only 25 years old, brings MVP caliber production and patience to the plate, alongside MVP runner-up Lindor, who had a great season, for a team who went to the NLCS last season. The other main contenders that the Mets will have to get by to win a World Series in the NL are the Dodgers, Padres, Phillies, and Braves. This move isn't one to contend right away in my opinion, although they have the roster to do so. This is also one to contend for the future. They have prospects like Luis Angel Acuna, Jet Williams, and Kevin Parada, who can provide a lot of depth and versatility in this year or next year's teams, and then will move on to be the future everyday faces of this team alongside guys like Soto. Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty, and Francisco Alvarez are guys who have come up over the last 1 to 2 years for the Mets and have provided significant good impact as really young rookies. Vientos and Alvarez proving more better than Beatty so far, but I think these guys are a part of the Mets' future. Alvarez showing such young offensive promise as a catcher too, and Vientos, what a great season he had, 25 plus homers, and a great postseason run that helped the team go to the NLCS. I don't even think the Yankees would have made it all the way to the World Series if it wasn't for Soto. I mean, the performance he put on during the regular season, and then that also continued onto the postseason. With Aaron Judge struggling, I think Soto is a guy who shows up at all times and all moments. As a hitter, he's calm, composed. He has an extremely good eye, really good plate vision, and has the power also alongside it. I mean, it's just incredible, this talent he has. Truly a generational hitter the Mets have at their hand for the next 15 or so years now, for the rest of his entire career. And I think beyond just having the guy like Soto, I'd say baseball's top 2 or even baseball's best hitter, it's about what this does to the dynamics of New York baseball. With the Mets and what they used to have in ownership with the Wilpons, this move would have never happened. Now with Steve Cohen coming in, spending aggressively, challenging the luxury tax, this is exactly the type of results Mets fans have been wanting for years. They've been seen as the little brother to the Yankees. People call them Lowell Mets because they always choke, but the past couple years have shown Steve Cohen can bring results, and although it hasn't been so direct, last year's playoff run was just the start, and now signing Soto is the big thing that comes after it. If you were to ask me the figure of $765 million, I think it's absolutely worth. Yes, it might be an overpay, maybe 50, 70 million, maybe even 100 million compared to what we initially thought the market would be for Juan Soto. But it's not this often you can lock up a 25-year-old generational hitter talent for 15 years and have him on your roster. I mean, the Mets have struggled to win, and the entire goal of any sport is to win championships. So why don't we get one of the best hitters and probably the best hitter of this generation to stay on our team for 15 years? I think that's just a great move. Sure, you might have to pay a couple extra 100 million, but it's Steve Cohen. The guy's gonna love to do it, and if the Mets win, that's what all this is about. So I'm all for it. And just knowing the guy Steve Cohen is and his past actions as owner of the Mets, I don't think he's done. Like, in a weird way, I still see the Mets going out and getting some more pieces to maybe shape out their rotation or bullpen just to make their pursuit of the Dodgers even more secure. I mean, when you're looking at a super team like the Dodgers, it's always best to just stay as good as possible. And if you have a guy, an owner who's ready to throw billions of dollars into a franchise to turn them into be baseball's next super team or baseball's next dynasty, he's definitely going to go do that. Look, Steve Cohen is a different owner. This guy will spend all his money on the Mets. He's changed the way front offices even view baseball. A lot of teams have been spending a lot of money, and it has led to results. And he's completely ignored the luxury tax, which is just funny because he knows whatever additional or even double the amount he has to pay in luxury taxes, it's worth it if you get guys like Soto in Queens for the next 15 years. Imagine how much that does for ticket sales, jersey sales, and just overall revenue. And if they go to the playoffs, if they host World Series, if they win World Series, it's just a compounding effect. Cohen doesn't really care about the money spent today because he knows it will lead to positive results in the future. If the Mets do have rejuvenated success under Soto, this also is a future play from Cohen. Like I said, the franchise will be valued more, which obviously just helps him out. But also, I think this could be a potential future destination for more free agents because players know they have an owner who's ready to just sign any check possible to get the top tier talent to the Mets. The players will be incentivized to go to the team that offers them the best money and even chance at winning. Now with guys like Soto and Lindor, you expect the Mets to be a perennial contender, so a lot of players will be intrigued by their opportunity to go play while also making the best deal they'll ever get. If you're the Mets, obviously stay excited, but this is just the beginning. You have to actually go out, compete with the roster. I mean, Soto is generational, but Soto has to play at a high level. So does Lindor and all the other star power on this lineup. The pitchers like Kodai Senga will have to pitch well. The bullpen, Edwin Diaz is coming back this year. Just overall, the whole team has to put in a very, very good effort. There's challenges on the way to a World Series. Like, just because you have Soto doesn't mean, oh, we're on the World Series now. The Yankees had Judge and Soto and they didn't win, so there's a lot in the way of the World Series coming to Queens. But if the Mets can really pull this off, whether it's not in the next year or two, I think it will happen at some point, just given how good Soto is. I mean, we gotta hope his talent stays and he doesn't regress for a long time and he can just kind of become a New York Mets legend and he'll retire a New York Met for 15 years. I think things still have to happen, but if you're a New York Mets fan, you're gonna see a similar guy in your lineup for the next 10 to 15 years, unless something just goes wrong. But yeah, crazy stuff happening in baseball nowadays. Pretty early, surprised it happened during winter meetings, but Juan Soto is officially a New York Met, no longer a Yankee. As a Jays fan, I'm a bit bummed out. We didn't get Ohtani last year. Now we don't have Soto. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, watch some of the other videos, subscribe to the channel, and some more exclusive content coming out soon. Peace.